Hey, welcome back to Bandwagon fans. This is Jeff.
Jason.
And tonight we are going to be talking about, hey, there we are. Hey, and so Jeff, Jason, our names are mixed up on the screen right now. I apologize for that. Move some things around here. But regardless of all that, tonight we are going to be talking about Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 3. This episode is called The Heiress.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to say this is the first episode so far this season that I did not mind watching a second time.
And, you know, for people out there that are fans of everything leading up to this with Clone Wars and Rebels, it was a great one.
All right, so let's just jump right into it. Big spoiler. So this is a spoiler. You know, we're assuming you've already seen it. We're jumping right into spoilers, and the big spoiler of the evening is
The squid heads were in this episode.
yes, they had the squid heads.
No, it was Bo-Katan. She's in the episode. People that follow the Clone Wars and Rebels, they're familiar with Bo-Katan. She was the Duchess Satine's sister, and a member of Death Watch.
Yeah. So when I saw the title of the episode, I thought it was going to be another stupid episode about that worm thing from
I totally got
girl.
the title because you know she's the heir apparent.
So Bo-Katan is the heiress in reference in the title.
Mm-hmm. Well, it pretty much. I mean, it like every episode, we get the continuation of the last one where he's on his way to the planet with the salamander
with his broken down ship.
Yeah,
and he almost crashes. Actually, he does crash.
He crashes.
It's a hard landing, and then he falls into the harbor. And this, so,
but it's a wet planet.
Yeah, is this the one called Mary Planet, or is this just
they share. I don't know what the planet's called, but both species share this planet, kind of similar to Naboo.
Yeah,
how the Gungans and the
Yeah. So I heard somebody it might have been Grace Randolph talking about episode 2. I think it was Grace Randolph. She was complaining about these stupid ships. And now all of a sudden every ship is crashing and falling through snow and like falling in the water, and somehow, by the end of the episode it's all fixed and kind of ready to go again. And it's really
different elements. Like last week it was the snow, this week it's the water. Next week it'll be we've already been in the desert. We're always in the desert every episode.
For a great pilot, he's crashed the ship more times than
he don't want to go to Camino.
Yeah. I'm gonna make some snide comments throughout this discussion, but I did really enjoy this episode. So this was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, and I forget which episode she directed in season 1.
It was the one with the dinosaurs.
Yes. But she does a really good job of pushing things along, pushing the action along, getting into the story.
Yeah.
There's a couple issues that I'll talk about here in a couple minutes, but for the most part, this story moved, it progressed, and more importantly, it progressed the overall narrative.
Yeah, because you got a little more involved to kind of the whole Mandalore and the dark saber, and where the Moff Gideon. Comes into play here with the attachment to that. And pretty much Bo-Katan is the heir apparent. So she needs the dark saber to lay claim to that. So that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to figure out who has the dark saber? It's Moff Gideon, and she's trying to figure out where he's at.
Yeah. So another thing that happened. So when Bo-Katan is introduced with her and two other Mandalores, and is this the Death Watch, the 3 Mandalores?
Yeah.
Or is that something different?
Well, it's a continuation of Death Watch. It's pretty much Pre Vizsla headed the Death Watch. Darth Maul kind of challenged him, beat him, beheaded him with the darksaber right there in front of everybody. And then there were loyalists to the Mandalore, the Death Watch, the whole ideology there. And then there were the ones that joined with Maul. And that's a whole thing there. But
is that all in the Clone Wars? Or
that's all in the Clone Wars. Okay. So pretty much from that, it's pretty much Bo-Katan is kind of, I don't know if they refer to themselves as the Death Watch. She mentioned the Watch.
Right.
So but that's
I thought she referred to Mando as part of the Watch.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure referred to him as part of the Watch.
I might have been talking just during that segment.
Yeah. So one of the besides just the introduction of Bo-Katan, the other really big revelation in this episode, and maybe and you're going to help me out if this was already talked about in the extended universe of the EU.
Yeah.
So the Mando is part of a specific sect of Mandalores that are they're like the fundamentalists of the Mandalorians.
Yeah, they don't take off their helmets.
So normal Mandalorians will take off their helmets.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
No.
So was that established previous to this show?
Yeah, I can't really recall in the Clone Wars if that was an established thing or not. I know everything I remember in the Clone Wars, they took their helmets off.
Okay, yeah.
You know, it really wasn't mentioned.
Right.
I remember pre-Viz LeBeau, yeah, they removed their helmets. Sabine Wren, even in the Rebels, wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, she took off her helmet.
And I'm really thankful for this because I was getting really flippin' sick of this whole the way and he can't.
Yeah,
take
I
his
think
helmet
what
off.
this is because Mandalore isn't a thing. It's
Yeah.
still kind of a broken up thing that needs to be reclaimed. I think that there was a like more of a cultist sect that he was raised in.
And to me, that makes it a lot more interesting. That so we're starting to get more not just fan service lore, but actually getting into some mythology and some actual political and character. It's leading into character development and effective world building rather than just see cool thing.
Yeah.
Good idea. So actually seeing this develop into a plot device actually is really cool. It makes me. Because honestly, I was getting really, really sick of the way thing.
I'm wondering if this is kind of an offset of what Darth Maul started.
Yeah.
When he was on Mandalore right before, like, it totally crumbled.
Maybe
these
Darth
might
Maul
be the survivors of that side.
So you think maybe they're going to lead into Darth Maul was kind of the head of this sect?
Well, the ideology continuation.
So
because after the Mandalore thing kind of crumbled, he went on and he did his thing, waiting for Kenobi to come in for that last battle.
Right. So from the timeline right now in this universe, and while this is going on, Darth Maul should be alive somewhere.
Yeah, well, in Rebels, he appeared he died in Rebels.
Yeah,
he had a confrontation with Obi-Wan.
But that's what I'm asking. Like, where how does all this fit into the overall timeline?
Oh, well, this is after Jedi. Rebels was before A New Hope.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally cool. Yeah, so what I'm thinking...
Non-linear storytelling.
This is just a group that maybe even a second generation. And what I'm maybe guessing is the... what's the term they use? The one that made the armor. The armor.
Right.
I'm guessing that she might be like the holdout from the first incarnation because she sounds older. So I'm guessing that she might be like the one that maybe continued the philosophies in a way. We don't know. But, it's intriguing. Yeah. But I do like the fact that, Bo still looked fairly young, pointing out the fact that Mandalorians do age slower.
Yeah.
That was the whole reason.
And who's playing Bo-Katan? Because you were pretty excited.
Yeah, that was Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica, the 2000 incarnation. She was Starbuck, Cylon, yeah. But yeah, cool. And Big Bang Theory, people know her as Howard Wolowitz's fantasy. Yeah. And then Sasha Banks was one of the other Mandalorians from pro wrestling. Everybody knows her. There was kind of a rumor she might have she was going to play Sabine Wren, but she's just, at this point, we don't know her name. I don't think it was mentioned.
No.
And then there was a male Mandalorian. The actor they did a good job casting him. He looked a lot like the actor that played Jango Fett.
It looks like Jango Fett, but we also know that the actor that played Jango Fett, I don't have his name pulled up either, but he is Boba Fett that we saw at the end of episode 1.
Yeah, no Boba in this. These are kind of standalones that are all giving you something at the end.
Yeah.
For a bigger picture.
So I watched the episode earlier this morning, and then I couldn't finish watching because I had to come set up. But who's the Jedi that they're sending him to at the end of the episode? What was the Jedi's name?
Oh, it's Ahsoka Tano.
Okay.
And that's everybody knows Ahsoka. So that's where he's headed now. The episode ended with him going in that direction. So
yeah. So I mean before this episode, I was thinking about it a lot over the last week, and kind of one of the biggest the biggest issues I had with the show is, so within an episode, within any given episode of any TV show, you usually have an A story and then you have a B story, right? Well, if you're going to break down The Mandalorian, the A story, I mean, what is it? Is it Mando reuniting with the Mandalorians?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be Mando reuniting Baby Yoda with the Jedi? Is it going to be the Dark Saber? There's all these contenders for the A story.
I think it originally started out with just the Mandalorian and the child,
Yeah.
and just they gradually discovered they could do a lot more.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
But within each, for the first 2 episodes of this season, they didn't address any of the, they didn't progress any of the A stories. But there's a slow burn, and then there's just stagnant water, right? So but this episode, they started developing the two main stories, the Return of the Mandalore and the Return of the Jedi, right? So we're starting to see some progress in that main story, which was nice to see.
Yeah.
But with that being said, there's 2 scenes that I want to talk about, because this is really turning into a problem with this show, how it keeps treading water. So within the show, the scene where we meet Bo-Katan and the other 2 Mandalore. Mando, I'm going to call Mando, the main Mandalorian, is trapped by some pirates, and they're trying to get his armor. And then Bo-Katan and her friends arrive, rescue him.
Yeah.
Kill the ship of pirates, rescue Mando and the child. And then they have a little argument about the way, and then they fly off. The very next scene, Mando is trapped by a bunch of squid faces. And then Bo-Katan and her friends arrive, save him.
Oh, it's so funny.
It's literally the same scene, two scenes in a row.
Well, yeah, because I called it too. I mean, he goes there and the guy literally comes out, "You killed my brother." And so it was like you had the one guy die with all his crew, and then you had the brother with his crew trying to get revenge right away.
No, but I'll say, I said this earlier. Bryce Dallas Howard, she's one of the 2 best directors that working on this show, and I forget there's an Asian woman that directed an episode in season 1. I don't have her name off the top of my head, but you can tell the difference in the episodes they direct. Actually, Taika Waititi did really good too, but the writing is just getting too repetitive. You got to mix it up a little bit better than they're doing. But with that being said, there were some really cool things in this episode.
Maybe it's just these stories don't need like 10 episodes or 8 episodes.
That could
really seriously, it's like, would you have been more excited going into this season if this would have been the first episode of the season?
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah,
you could have.
And you could probably go back and watch the first season. You could probably condense that season down to 4 episodes.
This should have been episode 1, and then on his way to the forest planet, he gets shot and has to land on Tatooine, and then we do episode 1 now becomes episode 2. Skip episode 2 altogether because that was just a complete waste of time.
It's like they don't really need to treat Star Wars like a regular show where they need filler episodes.
Yeah, there's 2. When you have,
I mean, they're doing like the Star Trek thing where there's so many Star Trek episodes that are just standalone episodes.
I literally went through 4 main storylines, or maybe 3 main storylines. You don't have time for filler episodes. And we did see Moff Gideon briefly in this episode. At least,
the hologram.
The hologram of him. But we saw him. We still haven't seen any of the other main characters from season 1.
No, not Cara Dune or Carl Weathers' character. I forgot what his name is.
We'll just call him Carl.
Apollo.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So, where do you think it's going to be going from here?
Well, they're going to find Ahsoka, and then Ahsoka is probably going. You know what? I don't know. The rumor about next season with Luke and Mara Jade might be interesting if it builds up to that. But I think what this is he's going to find Ahsoka, and then Boba Fett's going to find the 2 of them. And there's going to be some kind of thing to where, like, there's going to be an altercation between him and the 2. You know what I mean? And then it might continue to where something happens in The Mandalorian, and Boba Fett continues on.
As a
interesting.
as
Well,
a solo show.
I'm thinking that, you know, just with those rumors out there with things going down, if it continues without this Mandalorian being the lead in the show, they might treat this show like just kind of like introducing new arcs and new characters. And with Ahsoka, with Boba Fett, and if there's any others in the future that are like familiar characters that are fan favorites, then this might just turn into a Star Wars show and less about the Mandalorian. I mean, by the end of this season, you might figure out, you know, where the child needs to go. And then next season, it might just all be about getting the child there again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely not going to get rid of the baby. Whatever happens to these Mandalorians, they get rid of the baby. The baby's going to be a constant. In hindsight,
Baby Yoda is the safest character in the history of fiction.
In hindsight, they should have marketed this show to where the merchandise was out months before the show, and then they could have. There's a new Star Wars show coming out, and this is what's going to be in it. And then they could have used the reaction, and then the show would have been called The Child instead of The Mandalorian.
I think it was brilliant. Especially in this day and age of rumors and leaks, it's mind-blowing that they kept that thing under wraps.
Well, I'm just kidding, but you know, in hindsight, I'm sure they'd want the show to be called The Child.
They knew they're going to make their money, whether they make it before the show starts or after.
This Christmas they're going to clean up.
Yeah, I still don't have a Baby Yoda. I will fix that.
There's so many out there. I'd wait for clarity.
Yeah. So, speaking of Baby Yoda, there was a scene where he was eating his chowder.
Yeah, the mush, the porridge.
Yeah, and then the face hugger.
The face huggers are kind of constant too.
Yeah.
Sci-fi tropes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, this should be just Mando the tropes.
Yeah, because always getting this ship, you know, crashed. The baby always wanting to eat something.
Yeah.
You know, something's always crawling towards the child. It was a spider the last episode. And
this episode was fast. It was a short episode.
Because there was a lot of action.
Yeah, and it was short.
You know, yeah.
I think it was only like 34, 35 minutes.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. It did remind me of like an episode of the Clone Wars where it was just all like with the troopers, like a trooper episode.
Yeah. So now this would have been a good episode for them to take 5 minutes and just let Mando and the kid, you know, bond or something, you know.
There's probably going to be a scene next week or the week after, however long it takes him to get to Ahsoka. There's probably going to be 2 episodes between this, where he's got to do a couple more missions and jobs before he gets to Ahsoka. Yeah. And then once he gets to Ahsoka, there's probably going to be that scene where Ahsoka is bonding with the child.
But it just blows my mind, like the pacing of this show. It's like you have 2 longer episodes, almost an hour long, where almost nothing happens, and what does happen, you just saw in the previous episode.
And maybe with the streaming service too, Disney feels like to keep subscribers, they gotta go 2-3 months. You know?
Yeah, and then you have an episode where there's actually things happening, and there's no pause for character development. It's just boom, boom, boom. Well, there was some character development with the lore building.
I'm not gonna say that the show's gonna, you know, burn out because of it, but I am gonna say on reviews, people that go back to watch the show over and over again, you're probably gonna see a weaning of episodes. Much like the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars went 7 years with the new episode, but really you can seek out the arcs that are separated.
Yeah.
To where like every 3 or 4 episodes was a story. And you can just choose those. Like you can go back and you can just watch Clone Wars stories that just involve the troops or Mandalore or Darth Maul and Savage Opress and then the Night Sisters and all that. So, I mean, with this, that's what's going to happen. You're going to go back and you're going to rewatch this and you're just going to wean out the good ones. And it's going to be a really great watch. If the episodes that you wean out once this show's over are like this, then I would say that the complete thing that you binge is going to be good at the end.
So with that in mind, there's been rumors for a little while of Jon Favreau basically becoming the Kevin Feige for Star Wars. 11 episodes into The Mandalorian, how do you feel if those rumors turn out to be true, if he becomes the showrunner for all of Star Wars?
I like it. I mean, I'm okay with it. At this point right now, it's kind of like, you know, when are we going to get another movie? So if this is the only real sure thing going forward, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
He's been okay with this so far.
Yeah,
I mean, again, I think that these filler episodes, I think it's just Disney saying it's a show. You got to have so many episodes in a season. If Jon Favreau had his way, he probably would have wanted this to just been a movie.
yeah.
You know what I mean? They did want to make a Boba Fett movie, and that completely fizzled, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So going forward, if they make like other standalone movies like Obi-Wan, you know, I don't know if he'll have a part in that, you know, but going forward, if he's running all of it, he probably will.
Yeah.
But, you know, that'll be a prequel. That'll be another, like, that'll be, this movie's Lone Wolf and Cub, and Obi-Wan's show would be Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So he would just be in Tatooine taking odd jobs every episode. So instead of the Razor Crest flying to planet to planet, he'd just always be on Tatooine every
And
week.
then Boba Fett would be like.
Are you looking forward to that, right? Come on.
It's just all the '60s Western movies in a Star Wars universe.
Yeah, why not?
Not sure if you can hear. If you hear a little bit of a whining in the background, that's my little cat who has decided he no longer eats dry food, so he expects me to feed him wet food 3 times a day, and I've decided he's just going to be a hungry cat.
And he's just done with it, man.
Yeah. So if you hear, you probably won't hear it. You probably don't hear it, but if you do, that's what's going on there. And speaking of things that are upcoming, you mentioned Sasha Banks earlier, and that so right after this, about 15 minutes after this show ends, Jason and Cecil will come back for Figure Forum. So they're going to review the week in wrestling. And then later in the evening, Waylon will be here for game night. So this is the Bandwagon Fans Friday Night Extravaganza. We're going to be doing this every Friday night. Me and Jason reviewing a show from most likely Disney Plus, but there's going to be a couple week gap where there's no new content. And then Wrestling Figure Forum with Jason and Cecil, followed by Game Night with Jason and Waylon.
Yay.
So just letting y'all know, so when we fade to black on this, we will be back. So stick around for the whole night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about it?
So man, it's like this is the first episode that I really liked, but it's got the least to talk about.
It kind of was there, and then it was gone. I mean, you know, it's definitely very optimistic. You know, more so than the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks were getting frustrating. I said I was going to make last night comments, but overall, I really enjoyed this episode.
And I really think going into this season, a lot of Star Wars fans were just looking forward to kind of the Mandalorian references and the Ahsoka Tano references. So you get all of that in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, is there anything else?
No, I guess if you have Disney Plus, go back and watch those Clone War episodes and get caught up on all of it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
They're great stories.
Yeah.
They really are. It's probably the best stuff in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I watched the Baby Jabba arc, and that was about it.
Oh, that was the very first movie. Yeah, hilarious.
So anyway, I mean, we're not going to drag this out any longer because we kind of said everything we wanted to say.
Yeah, sure.
Good episode. Now I'm looking forward to what's coming in the future. And at 7 o'clock Arizona time, which is going to be roughly 9 o'clock Eastern time, come right back for us for Jason and Cecil Wrestling Figure Forum.
Yay.
Get on the bandwagon.
Happy trails.